It's a red letter day.
Woo!
We're all here.
We're all red.
We're all red.
Whee!
We
That
made
either means we're
we
really
made Greg
angry
go
or really excited. What's that, Betsy?
I said we made Greg go change.
Yes,
We did.
yes.
We did. Well, we didn't make him, but I think we peer pressured him. You know
Yeah,
how
that's
peer
A
pressure is.
little bit.
That's all. But you know what? It's cool. It's a cool and dreary day here. So I wanted something with long sleeves anyways, so it fit.
Perfect.
It's beautiful and sunny here, but very cool.
Is it?
Very cool. But your storms will be coming our way, so
Oh, good. Yes.
that'll happen tomorrow. And I need to work on my computer, like physically work. I got to do some driver work. So, morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. And
Morning.
This is the WikiTree LiveCast with myself, Mags Golden, Betsy Coe, and Greg Clark. And we're very happy and excited to see you. And today we're going to be talking about all the stuff that happened this week. And WikiTree, we're going to be giving you great photos of some people that we just really like. Just saying, that's a sneak something. What is foreshadowing? If this was a book, that would be foreshadowing.
Nice.
And we're going to be talking about some cool stuff that Mr. Clark has gotten a hold of. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Anyway, so there's so much going on that I can't even tell you everything. So we're gonna just go ahead and start things off with saying good morning, everybody. Audrey Martin was here first. She's got the winky button. Hey, Az, thank you so much for being in the background, helping us out with the live cast. D. Spencer Carr. I guess I should add her in our introduction, and Lisa. So it's me, Betsy, and Greg, and then in the background, Lisa and Azure. Morning to Christine Miller. Let's see. Mary Sleppy's here. Hey, cousin. Crystal J is here. Susie Carta, Lisa Gervais, Susan Anderson, Yoke is here. Oliver Stegen. Klaus Jensen from Switzerland.
We're showing his photo today.
What's
nice.
that?
We're showing one of his photos and celebrating his ancestor today.
Nice. Mark Lemon is here. Kathy Bauer. Vicky Blanco. Hey, Vicky.
Hey, Vicky.
Follow mail. Let's see. Willadine Adams. Jonathan Putis. Hello, Janine Lean Eiselman Goodson. Let's see. You're welcome. Enjoy genealogy. Yes. It's on our shirts. I saw a lady walking down the street with a Coca-Cola shirt on. And I kept thinking, no, that's genealogy. That's the wrong shirt. Tanea Coots is here. Hey, Nicole. Nice to see you showing up this morning. She's a great genealogist out there in the world. Chris Wine is here. Let's see. In Tampa. She's saying she's in Tampa. Hillary Gadsby. How's it up there? And good afternoon. Sowing some seeds. Sowing. Are they wild seeds? Sowing your wild seeds? Oh no. Patricia Jackson. Let's see. Stegen. Okay. Stegen. I love it when people give us a good correction.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. So that's everybody that's here right now. And we've got more people that'll be coming in later. So let me ask you this. And I already know this because we've got people in the chat that are obviously going to be excited about the question of the week. Do you people, Mr. Greg Clark or Ms. Betsy Coe, do you have any German ancestors?
Yes.
Yes.
You do it.
Yeah. It's a line that I haven't really explored too deeply, but yes, Hess is the surname.
Hess.
Yeah.
And Melanie McComb just popped in.
Melanie.
Hello, Irish genealogist, Shamrock genealogist. So the question of the week. Okay, so first off, a little bit of clarifying that Germany became Germany in like 1871, I think is the correct date. Before that, it was not Prussia. Prussia was just one of the Germanic states. So let's see. Prussia shouldn't be seen as the same nation as modern day Germany. Before Germany existed, the German-speaking world was united into one empire called Holy Roman Empire. Now, when you hear the Holy Roman Empire, you think Caesar, but no, this was after Caesar. So the Holy Roman Empire, which was ruled by the Austrian Habsburgs, the Holy Roman Empire was a dysfunctional empire with many of its states waging war against one another, Prussia, Austria, the Silesian Wars. So it dissolved when Bonaparte came through, and he reorganized it. So he's really what's to blame for the basic structure of how things are today. So just to get that straight, Germany wasn't Prussia at one point. It was always a part of the Holy Roman Empire before that, in lots of different states. And thank you, Bonaparte, for being a bad person who did good things.
Yeah.
So on to the question of the week. Hello, question of the week. Do you have any German ancestors? This breaks the record for the most answers that I know of for 203 answers.
Oh,
wow.
There's like 11 pages.
Oh my.
And we already have a best answer picked. And this is the best answer that appears to be from a book. So I don't know. And it's posted by Gary Norton. So Al Wellman says this is a great information. And then he wants to know what the source was for this bit of information. And so Gary put it down here as a history of Old Broad Bay of Waldo Borough and written by Stahl. So I just went in and edited it to show that the source in the actual information, and I guess it really should be in quotes, but it's a good information about the Germans who came over in Waldoboro in 1742 to 753. There were a lot of Germans who came over around that time as well to Nova Scotia, Lunenburg and all of that, because there were a lot of people who were being caught up in the British attempt to anglicize more of the territories. They were trying to keep the French from taking over. So they got a scheme together to get Germans to come over to the New World. So that is where that happened. It wasn't a part of the Huguenot influx, but a part of what they called the Protestants, the German Protestants to the colonies. And a lot of people came over from Württemberg. So that was interesting. So this is a great answer. Added a source in there for him so that we'd be able to see that. Let's see. Let me go on here. I'm on the right place. Somebody says Germany prohibits personal DNA testing. Do German ancestry estimates are often not accurate? So my Pennsylvania Dutch grandma barely shows any DNA. But that is not correct. Germany is not prohibiting DNA testing for general purposes. Now, I'm going to add a caveat in the middle of this. There are a lot of people in Germany who don't want to test. Okay, so there isn't a big testing going on. Italy used to be in the same kind of mindset that they didn't do a lot of testing, and that kind of has been changing. The only place where it has been illegal to test is France. So Germany is not prohibiting DNA testing for genealogical purposes. Being a German citizen, Ancestry has my ethnicity estimate, origin estimate, pretty much 100% correct, down to the city level, both in what was East Prussia and also into Lower Saxony. And that's from Sven Elbert. So thank you, Sven, for clearing that up. I thought that was an important one to look at. Oliver Stegen. Okay, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he has only German ancestors. Every single one of the 500 plus ancestors I've identified so far were German. For every earliest known ancestor, that he has listed on his profile, and you should visit his profile because he's got lists and all sorts of crazy stuff going on there.
Wow.
Very German names like Stegen, Grau, Ostermann, Neumann, Schlegel, Harms, Sander, Flüger, Kruger, Schreiber, Breitenbach. Kuntz,
Are you going to share your screen? That screen?
Oh, I don't know why it didn't. Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
There we go.
There we go.
So he's got tons.
Yeah, and Oliver's in the chat, by the way.
Oh,
Yes,
is
he
it?
is.
Yes.
Do I just qualify for a prize or something on this? You know what? Wait a second. And then down here, just past where he says that.
Yes.
Where are we? Let's go down. Let's see. Oh, it's not sharing this. Okay, so I nominate Oliver Stegen for the prize for this week's question.
Way to go, Mark.
Mark Lemon.
I already picked the best answer, and I don't like to change that unless it's like terribly obvious. But you know what? Let's do it. Let me go up here.
You're gonna do it? Okay, yeah.
All right. So there we go. Boom.
There we go.
All right.
And what is Oliver's ID so that we can? You said his profile is interesting.
He actually has a link to his profile on.
In the chat.
Got it.
Oh wait, that's the wrong profile though. That's the G to G profile. So here, there we go. Stegen 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
he
has.
He said in the chat, Megs.
What's
he said
that?
in the chat to pronounce his last name is Stegen.
You know, I saw that.
You saw that, okay? But you're going.
So look at all his stuff.
Stegen. Wow, look at that.
He's got lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Other information, genealogical research, and then we get into.
Look at that.
Look at that. What is that, Greg?
That looks like the surname app.
Isn't that a beautiful app?
It is.
Stegen. There we go.
Stegen.
Grandparents, grandmother, maternal. Look, he like
beautiful.
does it.
That's a thing of beauty. Yeah.
Then we go ancestors table. Take a look at this, you guys. This is like reading a novel, a well-written novel.
A well-written one, yes.
So there's your prize. Where are we? Let's go. Keep going. Then my maiden name is Muhlenberg. This is from Kirby Drake. And growing up, I believed I was mostly German. My DNA shows 48% French and German on 23andMe, 12% German on Ancestry with no French at all. When I start from my great-grandfather, Frank Edward Muhlenberg, his mother was born in Quebec. And her parents, and now we go Canadian. Her parents came from Baden in the early 1800s. Father born in Holy Roman Empire and mother from France. His father, however, came from Prussia, and his parents' locations were mixed between France and Germany due to the politics. So she's got a lot of great names, and she's got her Muhlenberg 7 up here. So I thought this was a great profile to share with you guys. Let's jump over there. There we go. So he was born in 1877 in Monroe, Wisconsin, and he was married to Margaret Lowndes Howe Smith. He's got some DNA confirmations going on. Lots of children. Crow Agency, Bighorn County, Montana. So this German fella goes over there. I changed my category settings. Can you tell, Betsy?
Oh yeah.
So nice. He's got Lodge Grass, Montana, Monroe, Bedgefield, South Dakota, Bighorn County, Montana. Great picture going on. Look at this. I love seeing a good table of contents. You know, early life, settling in Montana, marriage, children, moving to Colorado, Native American census rolls, divorce, late life, end of life, and DNA. And love those research notes. So, but check out all this stuff.
Wow.
End of life. She's got some nice tables in here, as well as some good lists. Lots of stuff. Divorce. And she's also, despite the fact that she has a research note section, she's talking about the stuff she's working on as she's talking through each one of these events. Like the divorce, she can't find any records in the 1940 census and that stuff. So that's a really great profile to look at.
Yeah.
Let's go on over. I had one more, I think. Oh, nope, that's it. That is the question of the week. Check them out, read them. There's 1,000. So you can spend your whole weekend working on the question of the week. And that is it. That is the question of the week.
Excellent.
Thanks, Mags. Wow.
That's great. So we can continue the German theme because the profiles of the week are all of German notables. So, yes, the checkers game. I noticed that they've changed from connection combat to connection checkers, which is a lot more playful and maybe less combative, I suppose. So which German notable are you connected to, and can you confirm that connection? So we've got lots. Like, look at this. I think they're adding more and more each week to the list of notables, which is okay. So let's venture through. And the first one we have here is Johann Wolfgang Goethe von Goethe, who is the only one of the notables at all that I'm actually related to distantly.
Really?
16th cousin, 9 times removed. All the rest of them there's a connection, through the tree at some point. But this is the only one who's actually related. And I have to go back to the 1200s, 1207.
Same for me, Greg. What did you say? 16th cousin, 9 times removed?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was I pulled that up actually. At some point, his German ancestor married a French woman, and that's how my connection to him is. But anyways, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, born in Frankfurt am Main, Reichsstadt, Frankfurt, Heiliges Römisches Reich, and in 1749, died in 1832 at the age of 82 in Weimar, Sachsen-Weimar-Eisenach, in the Deutscher Bund. And like many of these profiles, this is a really well done profile. Of course, it's managed by the Germany Project, no surprise there. And it starts off with the Biographia in German. So we could read that if we wanted to, but I won't subject you to that.
Johann Wolfgang von Goethe gilt als einer der wichtigsten Dichter und Autoren aller Zeiten.
There you go.
There you go.
Wird als Johann Wolfgang Goethe am 28?
28?
Anyways, it's a really well written biography, and it goes into a lot of detail. And then we switch to the English version. And what's interesting is that in many of you can tell they were written by German-speaking WikiTreeers, or German was their first language, because in some of them, the English isn't the way that a native English speaker would write it in terms of the tense, for example. So Johann Wolfgang von Goethe is considered to be one of the greatest poets and novelists of all time. No question there. He is born in the city center of Frankfurt into a prosperous family. His father is a lawyer, and his maternal grandfather is a sheriff in Frankfurt. So like if I was writing a profile for someone from this far back, I would have been using the past tense. And there's nothing wrong with this because it tells the story. It's interesting reading a profile where it's sort of telling the story in the present of something that happened long ago. But it's just an interesting thing I noticed, and I don't think it needs to be changed or anything. It struck me that this really is a global site and a global city that we're really dealing with, right? And that's just one of the sort of clues to it, is that and I think it's great that we have profiles that are bilingual, or I think that there's a couple. I've seen a couple that have been trilingual. That doesn't happen very often, but and I can't even remember which ones they were now. But it's neat to see the bilingual profiles, and that's kind of neat. So I just thought I'd point that out. Anyways, so Goethe started out. His father was a lawyer again. He went to a short period of public school, but most of the time he received his education from his parents, his tutors. He loved history and philosophy in Göttingen. He did study law in Leipzig. but then illness prevented him. He published his first book of poetry, and then but then he was able to continue to work as a lawyer. He was not really interested in work as a lawyer, and then he wrote a drama. And anyways, the profile goes on about all his. It's very detailed, as you could see. In the German, the English is just as detailed. Talks about he got over his unhappy love by writing a whole book, The Sorrows of Young Werther, which published at the Leipzig Fall Fair. He was instantly famous throughout Europe. So that's kind of neat. Anyways, he worked lots of stuff there. Went to Italy, took a bit of a sabbatical, went to Italy and did some more writing. And anyways, then he finished Faust Part 1, one of the things he's famous for. And then another thing of poetry, passed away in 1832 in Weimar. So very well-known, famous German. And then we have Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was born in 1906 in Breslau in Schlesien, Preußen, Deutsches Reich. Passed away on the 9th of April in 1945, Konzentrationslager Flossenburg in Bayern. Deutsches.
I'm impressed.
What's that?
I'm impressed. Your German's good.
My pronunciation, well, Duolingo and a little bit of well, so I can actually read it fairly. It'll sound fluent, but I can't understand what I'm reading necessarily. Mm-hmm. Especially when you get these long words that have 7 different syllables in them and whatnot. Sounds cool, but anyways. So Dietrich Bonhoeffer was born again in Breslau, Germany, which is now part of Poland. He was a twin, interesting, born 10 months before his sister Sabine. He was a Protestant theologian, important for his support of ecumenism and his view of Christianity's role in the secular world. He was involved in a plot to overthrow Adolf Hitler, believe it or not, but that unfortunately led to his imprisonment and eventually execution. His papers, letters from prison, were published posthumously, and he was engaged to Maria von Biedermeier 3 months before his arrest, and wrote to her from his cell. And then I love this, how that gives a nice background, the chronology of what happened. So April, he was arrested and taken to the cell, and then he was transferred to the Gestapo prison in 44. And then this is very sad because this is 45. So everyone knows 45 is the end of the war. So I was reading this, and even though it says up top that he was killed in the concentration camp, still, as I was reading this, I think, well, maybe he'll get, mm-hmm. No, it's ridiculous. It's I know what the outcome's going to be, but I'm still thinking it's getting so close to the end. But he was killed on April 9th, executed. And just a few weeks later, the city was liberated. So close. So close. It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
It is.
Anyways, lovely information here about his legacy, of course. As a pastor and a theologian of great intellect and spirituality, is being killed because of his opposition to Nazism, exerted great influence and inspiration for Christians across the world, including Martin Luther King Jr. In the Civil Rights Movement. Interestingly, he's actually commemorated in the liturgical calendars of some Christian denominations on the anniversary of his death. Doesn't look like he's been made a saint, but he's identified as a martyr for his cause. So, very interesting. Then we have Lucas. Lucas Cranach, formerly Sunder Gunantmaler, who was born going way back in time, 1475, in Cranach in the Heiliges Römisches Reich. Died at the age of 78, or at about the age of 78. So his birth year is only in about 1553 in Weimar, the Heiliges Römisches Reich. He's managed by the Germany Project. And there we go. We have a German biography, but we'll skip down to the English one. He was known as Lucas Cranach the Elder. Of course, his son would be the younger. This one was the son of Hans Sunder, who was a painter in Kronach and Anna Hubner. He had artistic training in his father's house, and then married Barbara Brengebier. He's listed all his children, and he's considered one of the most famous German painters of the Renaissance. He had many subjects, including several German princes and the leaders of the Protestant movement. He was a close friend of the original Martin Luther. Stephanie Graf, born in the 60s, originally of German descent, obviously. Her father is Peter Graf. Let's see, look at the ancestors. From Mannheim, Germany, and then grandfather, presumably also from the German area. Let's see, let's go back. And so she is married currently. She's married to Andre Agassi, another tennis star. Got married in 2001, and they had 2 children. And then we have a whole description of her tennis. She started playing tennis at the age of 3. Wow, they start them young. And she was already in the top 100 when she was in 83. And in 84, she beat for the first time a top 10 player, rose to the rank of 22, and then it goes on and on about her details. So she's she's got a great career, and then talks a little bit of personal life there as well. And a link to Andre Agassi's profile. He's also on WikiTree.
I wonder if their children play tennis. What set of genes?
That mean you got to think, right? You know, hopefully they're not the type of parents to really pressure them.
Right.
Yeah, but if your parents are constantly on the tennis court, that's where you're going to be too.
It's going to rub off.
Family doubles.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. And well, there's 2 of them, so you can easily do that. Wilhelm Karl Grimm. Now, I believe we've talked about the brothers Grimm previously on here. So this one, and I can't remember whether it was this Grimm or the other brother that Jacob that we talked about previously. But anyways, Wilhelm was born in 1786 in Hanau in Landgrafschaft, Hessen-Kassel, Heiliges Römisches Reich. Passed away at the age of 73 in Berlin, 1859. Another author, German author and anthropologist, and the younger brother of Jacob Grimm, of the literary duo the Brothers Grimm. The son of a town clerk, a Staatsschreiber, and the court advocate for the Hofgericht Advocat. His family moved to Stanau an der Straße, where Philip Wilhelm had been transferred as the Amtmann, not Ant-Man, in case Chris Ferriolo was watching. It's the Amtmann, who's the bailiff. Then he studied law at the University of Marburg. After his brother Jacob started there, they spent their entire lives close together. They, in their school days, they bunked together, and 2 beds, 2 tables in the same room. Always lived under one roof. Even I think when they got married, Grimm was employed as a secretary at the library in Kassel and married a pharmacist's daughter, and they had 4 children listed here. Interesting quote here, and this is why I remember talking about this before, that his marriage would no way disturb the harmony of the brothers. And I think we mentioned this quote: they both live in the same house and in such harmony and community that one might also imagine that children were common property. Yeah. So, and you know what? I think you gave the same strange look then, Mags, when the first time we talked about that. So we'll just leave it at that. But what is interesting is that their characters were a complete contrast to each other. So his character was very different from Jacob's. And then it goes on to talk a bit more about that and how they collected fairy tales and edited and published them. And then we have there's the transcription of the German from the baptism record, which is always neat to see. We don't have a picture of it though, but I'm guessing if we go to the source, we might be able to pull that up if we click on that. Let's just see what happens. Oh. Sie haben bereits einen Pass. I don't have a pass. Aber keine Pass. So we will not look at it today without the pass. So we'll go on to the next person, Fanny Zipra Cecilia Mendelssohn. So Mendelssohn, also known as Bartholdy. So born on the 14th of November, 1805, passed away the 14th of May, 1847, just at age 41. These musicians, they did not live long and prosperous lives, did they, Betsy?
No. And I mean, she was always in the shadow of her brothers.
That's right.
Felix.
Yeah. Felix Mendelssohn was her brother, indeed. And in fact, some of her music was actually published under her brother's name, which is annoying and wrong, but might have been the only way it could get published back then, one would suppose or wonder. But she composed over 460 pieces of music, including a piano trio and several books of solo piano pieces. And a number of them were published under Felix's name. She was descended on both sides from distinguished Jewish families, and received her first piano instruction from her mother. So this is interesting. Her first piano teacher was her mother, who herself had been trained by Johann Kronberger, who was a student of Johann Sebastian Bach. So that's very cool. So if you think of a musical family tree,
exactly,
Johann Sebastian Bach is the great-grandfather, great-grandmeister of of the Mendelssohns.
Yeah, that whole idea of like pedagogical family trees is very cool.
It is very cool.
And real, because, you know, your teacher influences you and they were influenced by their teacher. So really passed down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So interesting. Yeah. Now, have you played any of Fanny's music that you know of?
Not that I can recall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what she's written that would involve flute.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true. It looks like it's mostly piano stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I've played any of her piano music. I have played a number of Felix Mendelssohn's music. Mm-hmm. So I may have inadvertently played some of hers and not even known it. So that's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a nice little portrait of her there. Moving on to Theodor Heuss, who was born in 1884 in Brackenheim, Württemberg, Deutsches Reich, passed away in 1963 in the Stuttgart, Baden-Württemberg, Bundesrepublik Deutschland. He was the first Bundespräsident of the Bundesrepublik Deutschland in 1949. Mm-hmm. So that's his claim to fame. His father was the official overseeing building activities in Brackenheim when he was born. Then he went to study economics, wrote his doctoral thesis on viticulture and the vineyard estate in Heilbronn am Neckar. Such a specific things. Now, I wonder how much viticulture and vineyard estate management he took into his job as the Bundespräsident. One wonders.
Yes.
But he was a journalist for several newspapers. And then he was elected to the Reichstag actually in the 1920s. So he was involved in a little bit of politics there. But then during in 1936, he resigned from office to prevent the newspaper from being banned at the time. Mm. But he was personally banned from publishing in newspapers. So that's something that happened. So he couldn't do that. But then after the World War, he received the license to edit the Rhein-Neckar-Zeitung in Heidelberg and becomes the Minister for Education in Württemberg-Baden. Then moved to Stuttgart, became a member of the Parlamentarische Rat, and then he gave up that position to become the president. In Germany, the president is required, under the Constitution, requires the president to actually stay out of day-to-day politics. Now, isn't that interesting? As opposed to having your fingers deep into the politics. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. He tried to familiarize the German population with democracy. So that's a good thing, a very good thing. But this is he was so popular that there were people that wanted him to go for a third term, which obviously was against the Constitution, but he declined that. So he could have possibly, had them change the Constitution, but he was, that was noble of him to honor that and just say, no, 2 terms is enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Now on to Alexander Mack Sr., who was
my
born.
closest.
Oh, he's your closest.
Yep, at 19 degrees.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
you beat me.
16. Not a cousin though.
Right.
So I wonder where. Let's see. How am I connected to him?
Oliver Stein is telling us that, yep, in order to become president,
Mm-hmm.
you have to abandon any political party membership you may have had before.
So, yeah. So you have to be neutral, I guess, in that regard. Yeah. Nice. A couple marriages, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes through my father's line. Interesting. To the Robs. And then the Hamilton. Interesting. Actually, this connection between the Robb family and the Hamilton, I think that was one I worked on just recently during one of the connection things. So that's kind of cool. Let's go back to Alexander. Okay, the Reverend Alexander Mack, actually, was part of the Palatine Migration Project. So he was as a minister, he was the leader and the first minister of the Schwarzenau Brethren, or the German Baptists. Also, I don't know where they get this name, informally known in the U.S. as the Dunkers. Like, why Dunkers?
Donuts, man.
Donuts. You think they brought donuts over with them from the old world?
Oh, no. I bet it has to do with the way they baptized.
I bet you are right.
Yes. That makes a lot of sense. You got dunked. Wow. And then they went on to become great basketball stars.
But
okay.
That was a delayed laugh, Betsy.
Must be the internet.
Yes, absolutely.
Victor says, yep, rather than sprinkling.
Rather than sprinkling, yeah.
And
you got to really mean it. Right?
The Shamrock genealogist said, yeah, that's correct. Full immersion.
There we go. Wow. So details about the baptism, marriage, children, occupations, all that sort of stuff, and research notes there. So as this was part of the Palatine Project, I thought I would just have a quick boo at the Palatine Migration Project page.
A quick what?
A quick boo. Peekaboo. Boo. Look.
Peekaboo. Like, you're trying to scare the project, boo?
Have you not heard of that phrase? I'm taking a quick boo.
It could be your boo, you know?
Yeah. So the Palatine Migration Project is one of many projects, of course, that WikiTree has. And its aims is to support the research and collaboration on profiles of German-speaking migrants, usually called Palatine Germans. So it talks about how to join the project and the goals of it. So currently, it looks like the primary goal is adding the immigrants, and then they're considering adding descendants as well. But of course, I guess getting the original immigrants and categorizing them is the primary importance. And then I pulled up this here because it gives a little, you can sort of see the map. And the official Palatine itself is just sort of this little area here near the Rhine, where Germany borders France and that sort of area. But according to the project, it looks like the term Palatine German was actually at some point was extended to almost anyone who spoke German who came over. I don't know whether people are specific or whether the project focuses only those who do in fact come from the Palatine area, or if they accept anyone who was named that. So, but if you're interested in joining a project and you've got some German heritage, then that's one you might want to consider. Mm-hmm. So many good projects in WikiTree.
And they're just a way to find your little sub-community. Right?
Yes, exactly. That's right.
Love it.
Karl Christoph Mille was born in 1869 in Herzebruck, Westfalen-Preußen, Norddeutscher Bund. Passed away Christmas Eve, 1938, age of 69, Gütersloh, Westfalen-Preußen, Deutsches Reich. And we will go down. So he was a businessman. And this is a great profile. I love how they've included the different pictures of different things that he's created. So he founded a company, a hardware, which is a home hardware appliances company. And there's some ads from some of the.
And those are some of the finest. Like if you have one of those refrigerators, you've made it. You
made it, yeah.
But
briefly, they actually even produced a motor car at one point, briefly.
Wow. Go back up to the wash stand.
Sorry. The wash stand right there, yeah.
Yeah. My grandmother had one of those.
Really?
Just for looks.
Look at that.
She's just like, she reminded, I used to use that.
Wow. We had one that was sort of that shape, but it was aluminum, a little taller. But it have a ringer, and I remember Mom putting the clothes through the ringer at the top.
And that's what it put you through the ringer.
Yeah, that's exactly. It did put you through the ringer. Yeah. So, but there is an English version of the bio right down here. Yeah, his father was a trained bricklayer and farmer's son. Later became a designer and entrepreneur, guarded one of the founders of German household appliance industry. Along with his partner Reinhard Zickan, they formed the business Mille und Compagnie, which became a long tradition in East Westphalia. Even in 1929, they introduced the first electric household dishwasher. There you go, that you were talking about in Europe. And the first refrigerator followed a few years later. Anyways, really neat profile. Love the pictures that are embedded. And at the end, it says, so he retired. Both the company founders retired. Unfortunately, they didn't live long to enjoy their retirement. He died at the age of 69 and 38. He retired in 37 and he died in 38. And his 70-year-old partner died just 6 months later. But the company is now into its 4th generation. Isn't that cool?
Still going strong.
Still going strong. I think that's very cool. Here we have Nathan Meyer Rothschild. Yes, those Rothschilds, in case you're wondering. So he was born in 1777 in the Reichsstadt, Frankfurt am Main, Heiliges Römisches Reich, passed away at the age of 58 in the Freistaat, Frankfurt, Deutscher Bund. He was the 3rd son and the 4th child of Meyer Amschel Rothschild and Gutla Schnapper, member of the 2nd generation of the Rothschild banking dynasty. He went to England at age 21, immigrated to Manchester, established business in textile, trading, and finance there. Made a fortune trading bills of exchange through a banking enterprise begun in 1805 and established a bank in London. He became a British subject in 1804. He married Hannah Barendt Cohen, the daughter of Levi Barendt Cohen and Lydia Diamant Schleifer. And the Barendt Cohen family has connection because his wife was the aunt of Benjamin Frederick David Phillips, the founder of the Phillips Company, and also aunt of Karl Marx, the German-born philosopher. How cool is that? Anyways, he and his 2 elder brothers were given the noble title, and that allows them to use the word von in front of their name. So not just Rothschild, his brothers could be called von Rothschild, which is interesting. And there we go. He died. He was in Germany when he died, but his body was brought back to London for burial and a funeral procession. We have Hermann Friedrich Albert von Irchheim, who was born in 1850 in Kiel, Holstein, Denmark, Deutscher Bund. Passed away at the age of 79 in Gießen, in Hessen, Deutsches Reich. He was the son of a jurist and a law professor. His family is traceable to East Frisia until the 16th century, so that goes way back. His father moved to the University of Gießen, and they Herman grew up there, started his studies. During the Franco-Prussian War, he enlisted, and after the war, he finished his studies to become a physician. And so this is where his name came from. His last name changed from Ihering to von Ihering because his father got a hereditary title. So that allowed him to use that von, V-O-N. So, he studied zoology and geology and got a doctor's degree. Now, when I first read this, the first thing I saw, he got a doctor's degree from Dr. Phil.
Doctor of philosophy.
I think what it means is he got a doctor's degree of a doctor of philosophy.
As opposed to medical doctor.
As opposed to, yes, that's right.
As opposed to TV doctor.
As opposed to TV doctor.
Or that, yes.
So interestingly, he moved to Brazil, and he worked there for 30 years as a scientist. He was an explorer for the National Museum of Brazil in Rio de Janeiro, to Sao Paulo, to establish the Museu Paulista, named as the director of the museum. And then because of the anti-German sentiment in Brazil during the First World War, he moved back. He returned to Germany. And then he wrote a book about the history of the Atlantic Ocean. Honorary professor.
Who knew Melanie McComb had a bachelor's degree in zoology?
That is very cool. Very cool, Melanie. Excellent.
Now we need to ask her what her favorite animal is.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, how could you pick one if you were a zoologist? The last profile, Ferdinand Adolf Heinrich August von Zeppelin. We'll end with a bang, sort of. Born on the 8th of July, 1838 in Konstanz in Baden, Deutscher Bund, and passed away the 8th of March, 1917 at the age of 78 in Charlottenburg, Brandenburg, Preußen, Deutsches Reich. He was a German general, later and an inventor of the first lighter-than-air rigid dirigible airship known as the Zeppelin. Ferdinand Adolf Heinrich August Graf von Zeppelin is the son of Friedrich Graf von Zeppelin and Amélie Macquart d'Auger. He was born in the Grand Duchy of Baden, went to technical school and then a military school after that to become a cadet, and he began a military career in the army. Interestingly, during this United States Civil War, he was over in America and he was an observer for the Union Army. And he visited Thaddeus Lowe's balloon camp. So they used balloons, right, to go out and survey from above. And that gave him the idea of, which eventually led to his interest in aeronautics, and then, of course, his own invention of the Zeppelin. So isn't that wild that you can trace the origin of the Zeppelin back to the U.S. Civil War?
To balloons.
Yeah.
To balloons, yeah. That's wild. So there's some neat. There's a picture
and to Led Zeppelin.
And Led Zeppelin, which would float like a lead balloon. So there's a picture from the first Zeppelin flight, which took place over Lake Constance. And though it was damaged, they made it fly 2 more times that year. He had some trouble funding. Initially with this experiment, he mortgaged his wife's estate, used his own personal funds, but eventually the government thought, oh, maybe we can do something. There was something worthwhile into this, and so the German contributed to that. He died in March of 1917, before the end of World War I. So he didn't live to see that his country actually got defeated in the war. He didn't realize that, and well before the crash when the actual Zeppelin blew up in New Jersey that ended the flight of all Zeppelins. So, interesting. Interesting profiles this week.
Very diverse.
Very diverse, yeah. Anyways, I'm done.
All right, thank you, Greg. Well, folks really delivered with the photos.
Oh, excellent.
We have a bonanza of photos.
And you and I were talking about one particular photo that I alluded to in the opening, and I don't see that person around.
That individual is usually here, and
what's up with that?
I don't know. Well, maybe they will come late.
Okay.
Audrey, that is adorable.
This is her grandfather Rodney and his twin brother Royce, 1936 in Preble County, Ohio.
Nice.
That is adorable.
I know. And someone commented, they look like they've just concluded a really important business deal.
Okay.
And have turned for the photographers to make note of it.
That's right.
I get the grape lollipop. You get the orange one.
important business when you're two.
That's right.
Yes. Now, well, this is the photo we were talking about.
Ooh.
Does anyone have a guess as to who this little guy on the right is?
Oh,
he's giving bunny ears to somebody.
Is he? Oh my goodness!
Of course
he
is.
Chris Periolo.
That is.
Oh, that's great. Oh, why aren't you
he
here?
said, March 1989 at my cousin's christening. Photo was taken by one of his aunts who wanted to get a picture of us grandkids with our grandparents.
Look at all the guesses that are coming up here. Chris. Chris? Is that Chris? Is that Chris?
Yeah.
That's Chris.
His grandparents, Robert and Natalie, are front and center trying to corral the motley crew.
Yes.
And that is his older brother wearing the too cool for school shades.
Oh, that's his too cool brother. Yeah.
So thanks for that, Chris. Now, this was from Katrina Miller. And it's the Miller children at the Cannon Schoolhouse around 1885. It's very special. The town of Cannon, I guess it no longer exists. It says used to be east of Van Alstyne, Texas.
Oh.
And that is her grandfather's James here on the far left. James, Jacob, John, and Lula.
James Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
I was thinking Jingleheimer Smith too.
So I wonder which one is Lula, one of the little girls behind, but very special. Now we have a pair of photos here. We have a sad and a happy shot. So this is submitted by Jockey Erdos, who writes, "This is my grandfather's younger siblings. It's unusual to see an old photo of a crying child, and I especially love the hand gesture and expression on the face of the child on the right."
That's my favorite.
Oh boy, here we go again.
Do you have the vapors?
And here we are happy again.
Oh, nice.
That photo looks a bit anachronistic. The other one, go back up.
Yep.
He's holding a phone. A cell phone?
With a pop socket. Yeah. I don't know what that is. And it's not in the other one, is it?
Huh. What is it?
I don't know.
Come on, conspiracy theorists. Get going.
Okay.
He's a time traveler.
Is he got a backwards baseball cap on?
Maybe, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. To add to the conspiracy.
Yes, right.
We wouldn't have had baseball caps like that back then.
Beanies. They had beanies.
Beanies. Okay.
Well,
so this the text in the red. I'm going to read that to you. So this is a fortune of a little girl, and that there would be the little girl. This is from Christopher Bacon. "You will live in this house that your father built until you grow old. Your father will die suddenly one night in this house from pneumonia. You will marry and have 3 boys, but your husband will die young, leaving you with 3 young boys to raise. You will raise the 3 boys in this house, first with the help of your widowed mother, and later with the help of your brother Joe. Your middle son will leave home to seek his fortune and trade a train ticket for a ride home in a flying machine on Halloween Eve. The plane will crash and he will not return home alive. Your youngest son will leave home to fight in a world war, but he will return home safely. This old house will be returned to the earth in 1965. You will have 9 grandchildren, 14 great-grandchildren, and 15 great-great-grandchildren.
Nice.
Yeah, I love the way that that's
Yep.
framed. Yeah, framed through the house and what we don't know when we're young.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know where. Oh, Jackson, Michigan is where that is. 1890. So very nice. This is adorable. This is Lorna Halnan's paternal grandmother, Margaret Shirley Keller. And when we go over the free space page, we'll see a bigger version of this. Lorna says she was very close to her all of my life. Yeah. This is from David Randall, his grandfather, Louis K. Randall. The photo was taken in 1919 in Phoenix. And he knew his grandfather as an elderly man, but still sees a resemblance in this picture, which I think is very cool.
That's neat.
What happens. And boy, is he in his best knickers and little shoes.
Look at those shoes. Yeah.
I know. Okay, so here we go. This photo is actually on the free space page, and Jonathan Pudas, who contributed it, is in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait to go over to the free space page, and then we'll look at that. So, and that would be now.
That would be now. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So let's go up to where that photo is. We've seen, there it is. Picnic at Smalls Farm.
Oh, yeah, I love it where they've got all the people numbered.
Yep.
Oh.
This is 1921. His maternal grandmother, Marjorie Olney, is number 28. And her mother, Josephine Mabel Dyer, is 20. Marjorie's father, George Olney, is 16. And then Marjorie's maternal grandfather, Eugene Howard Dyer, is number 2. So that's like a 5-generation photo, isn't it?
Wow.
We got Marjorie's mother, Marjorie's grandfather. 4 generations. Very cool.
That is a very cool picture.
Yeah. And everybody has some sort of connection to Maine and Massachusetts. He writes, my grandmother was a Dyer Olney. Her Dyer line goes back to Will Dyer and his wife, Mary Barrett Dyer, the Quaker martyr. And he has a link to Thomas Olney, one of the original proprietors of Providence, Rhode Island. I lived in Providence for 6 years. And the photo was the impetus for the project that got my mom and some cousins started on research that I've been able to continue in a small way, making contact with many distant relatives in Maine and Massachusetts. So, yes, wonderful. And that's a great idea to number everybody. So thank you so much, Jonathan. All right. And I think then we can. Remember last week I was saying about the sale. I was trying to ID something by the sailor suit, and then all of a sudden I realized everyone was in a sailor outfit.
Yeah.
And Melissa Gazzetta, who was watching, she actually emailed me and said that it was Prince Albert, little Prince Bertie. He had been dressed in a sailor suit by his mother.
And that's everybody. Yeah.
It was from then on. He was a trendsetter. Yeah.
Trendsetter. Yes. The first influencer.
Exactly. So thank you, Melissa. Okay. So then we have Grandpa called us the kissing cousins. Tim, Jack, Chris is Christine Miller, and Paula, my sister.
Note the people sitting in the living room behind them.
Oh, yes, that's right. People in the windows.
And here are the East children.
Nice.
Madeline, my mother, Therese, and Charles. This is from, who is it from? I can't tell.
Yes. Good job.
Yeah, I guess uploaded by, I guess, Pirette Parody. Yep. Okay. Very sweet photo. And I think that's it. Like I said, it was just, oh, no. Wait,
Next.
There's more. Well, we've seen that one. Oh, we have not seen this one. The Fowler family. And there's got to be a story here.
Oh.
Holding knife on Richard. What? They look like they're horsing around, but I'd like
it does.
story. Yeah. And then here's the one that I said we'd see in greater detail. Margaret Shirley Keller. Oh, those cheeks.
Just want to pinch them.
I know. We have 2 Lesters. I would love to know where this is. 1924. There's no location given. And there's a sailor suit. There's another one. And we have the Harrison siblings, Ted, Mildred, Donald, and Elizabeth. Let's see. That's St. Clair, Port Huron, Michigan, 1928. And these children look like little adults.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Jackson, Wisconsin, 1910, approximately. Bertha Kendall. I'm guessing that this is Bertha because she has the position of honor. She's got the chair. And children. It looks like her grown children.
Grown children.
Yeah. That counts. And Albion King Paris Theisel with older brothers. Now, where and when was this? Hawley, Minnesota, 1888.
Wow.
Huh. The Old Smith family, 1896. That's a nice photo. And that's it.
Yeah.
Great photos. God.
Yes, indeed. Now we have one ancestor to celebrate, and it actually goes with a photo that we looked at a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna get to that photo, and it was contributed by Klaus Jensen, who is in the chat with us from Switzerland. So thank you. I never know when I email people an hour or so with an hour's notice can make it live. But Klaus, I'm so glad that you did. So here's the story. His parents' wedding date was organized, sorry for the pronunciation, advance apologies, with the municipality of Nieuwer-Amstel for May 10th, 1940. But the war started that day. His mother's family lived in Amstelveen, about 5 kilometers east of the main Dutch airport of Amsterdam. There was bombing during the night. The airport was unusable. His parents did not go to the municipal office to get married. And after a call from the municipal office, they canceled. His mother stayed home in Amstelveen, and his father stayed home in Amsterdam. The warfare was over after 5 days, and from that moment, the occupation by the German troops lasted until May 5th, 1945. And I'm reading this thinking, oh no, they had to wait 5 years to get married. Oh no. Now, what happened was his maternal grandfather had bought 2 houses in Amstelveen for his 4 children. And at the end of the day, there was 1 house left that really needed to be occupied between the grandparents and some of the older sons. But there was still 1 house that needed to be occupied so that it wouldn't be like taken back by the occupators. So Klaus's parents did end up getting married. May 29th, so it's only a 2-month delay. May 29th, 1940. Here they are. The wedding party was just with close family and a few friends of his mother. Here they are in the garden of their new family home in Amstelveen, which was where Klaus was born. Also his sisters. And they lived there. The family was there until November 16th, 1965. So what is relevant from the photos is I recognize the surname, and there is Klaus's mother and his uncles.
Nice.
Nice.
So, tying everything together. So
very nice.
Yeah. Our photo theme. So next week we're in June, and our photo theme is music.
Nice.
Let's see what we can dig up for music, and I'll put up a new post for June Ancestors. So
nice.
Excellent.
That's great. I know Greg wanted to show something off, but we're running really, really over.
Oh no, so. I'm not. It's not ready yet.
Okay.
That was just a sneak preview.
All right, good job. Thank you so much. That was fun. I love to see all the pictures show up. Now, Melanie McComb is in the chat, and I just want to point out that we have something going on the 30th through June 6th that she might notice. One of her colleagues, David Allen Lambert, is getting the WikiTree challenge treatment. So that's coming up June 30th through the 6th. The sourcing sprint's going on all day today. New members question and answer with Betsy Coe is going on. On the 26th, question of the week will be posted. Yes, sir, ma'am?
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. That is the 26th, because today is the 25th. Tomorrow. 52 Ancestors, Data Doctors Challenge, Connection Checkers, David Allen Lambert. And this week it's Friday date night. Be sure to wear your dress, bring champagne, and take Julie out for the day. That's so nice to show up at 4 p.m. with her. Also, the social media team of the Ambassadors Project has gotten good information together for us for the week coming up. Of course, we've got David Allen Lambert takes the WikiTree challenge. But the cemetery spotlight is Abney Park Cemetery, so you can share all of these great things. All the links are there for you. New member question and answer, which I hear is tomorrow with Betsy Coe's coming up. Question of the week is, who are the military heroes in your family? It's Memorial Day weekend in the United States, which means that we celebrate the soldiers who passed away during their service. So you want to check that out. One Name Tuesday is Frappe. Now,
Frappe?
Frappe.
Frappe LaRue?
I want some. The Connection Checkers is one of our combats. WikiTree Games registration is closing soon. The WikiTree Games are coming up. Yes. One Place Wednesday is Crosby, Texas. And the project showcase for the week is Portugal. Friday date night is, again, come and hang out with Julie's because she gets so lonely, you know. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is Tom Petty. And the WikiTree Games, Friday registration closing soon. And then you can check out or meet our members and then come back and hang out with us next week on Saturday. So there you go. We wish you all a wonderful WikiTree week. Yeah.
Before we go, though, I just want to reiterate about the Wiki Games. So the Wiki Games are happening in August.
Yep.
But they decided to move the registration early so that we could get the registration and the teams all sorted out well in advance. So it doesn't conflict and can get confused with the registration for the Connect-a-thon, which happens in July.
We wouldn't want the WikiTree games to be confused with the Olympic Games.
Exactly.
That are happening this summer. So yeah.
That's right, yeah. So please sign up for the WikiTree games, because there's lots of room still for more people. And one of the interesting things about the way it's going to be run this year is we're going to run it over 2 weekends, 2 events each weekend. And the events will actually happen there'll be sort of 3 heats. So you pick your time frame that you want to compete. So the people who are from Australia, New Zealand, they actually start WikiTreeing first, assuming that they choose the heat that's appropriate for them. So they don't have to get up in the crazy hours of the night to join us who live on Eastern Standard Time and whatnot. So you can choose which time frame works best for you, and yeah, so join us. It'll be fun.
And that is the week that was, and we are so glad that you've been here with us. We love seeing you, or not seeing you, but hearing about you or talking about you, whatever we do.
Talking with you.
Yeah, with you. Yeah. So you guys have a good week. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye. Happy Saturday.